So, very good morning, friends. Selva here. Hope I'm audible for you, and the screen is visible for you. So, let's start. Probably before that, I'm going to say if this is screen is visible, my voice is audible. Probably you can confirm in the text box that yes, I'm audible, and then probably we can go ahead. Can you just quickly confirm the screen is visible and I'm audible? Because the session is live, I'm not probably sure. That might be about 30 seconds delay. So if you quickly confirm, then I can go ahead. Yeah, fine. I think it's perfect and clear. Let's go ahead. So it's just not a single PPT which you might have looked at. Probably I have the second PPT as well. So I thought of having this session more interactive rather than just one-way communication. So I don't want to keep talking on this topic. If you are ready, probably you can enjoy this session by means of active participation as well. Right. So let me introduce what we are going to cover. Then probably I will come to that slide. So simulation software packages for a battery energy storage systems. That's what I'm going to talk more aptly today. Though you might have seen the topic like grid connected and standalone microgrid design using Homer Pro. That's the topic which is given. Yes. So I thought of rather than just blindly jumping into the Homer Pro and doing a microgrid design of grid connected and standalone. I thought of explaining the background of what is energy storage system, what is battery energy storage systems, what is microgrid, what this can do and what it cannot do, and how this process flow is. That means when this software is needed and when a different software is needed, etc. Probably we will try to see a big picture. Then probably we will go into microgrid standalone and grid connected microgrid design using Homer Pro. Right? Yeah. What is BESS or a microgrid? That's the biggest question to be answered. It is just not in academics. Even in industries, people are looking at the battery energy storage systems or a microgrid like this. It's like a 5 lines looking at an elephant and trying to understand what it is. So, and I believe, with my about 4+ years of experience in microgrid and energy storage systems, I'm also seeing not the full picture of microgrid and battery energy storage systems. At least what is my knowledge, probably I will try to put it. And our expert Balakumar is expected to join today, but because of few technical glitches, he may not be able to join. But in the meantime, if he is able to join, we will take it up. Right? So, of course, this is not technical. We will try to answer the question all one by one. And if you have any questions, probably please put it in the chat box. Definitely, we will come back to your questions at the Q&A session. Yes, this is what we are going to talk today. Energy storage. When we talk about energy storage, by default for an electrical engineers, it comes like the best battery energy storage system in their mind. But that's not the only case. There are many things. So we are just focus on what is energy storage. Then we focus on battery energy storage systems. Then we will talk about what is BESS and what is microgrid, because most of the times these two technologies are. We talk about steps in design. That means what are the steps involved in designing a microgrid or a battery energy storage systems. Then softwares used for a commercial viability check. Means any project, if you want to do, means you need to validate commercial viability of that project. Say example, if I have designed an extraordinary mobile phone and if I am selling at maybe 5 lakhs, nobody will buy that. So definitely means we need to make the project commercially viable. So in order to make any battery energy storage system projects or microgrid projects, how to make it, what are the softwares are used. One among the software is Homer Pro. That's what we are going to discuss discuss more in detail along with some case studies, industrial case studies. And softwares for technical feasibility, that is also much more important. If I am designing a phone at 500 rupees and if it is a normal touchpad phone, again probably there will not be any buyers for it. So it's really important you ensure what is the technical requirements of your customers at an affordable cost to the customer. So that's what we have to do even when the battery energy storage systems are a microgrid or you take any projects. So means how we are going to means ensure the project is technically feasible whereas it is commercially viable to the end users, and how can we make this battery energy storage systems or a microgrid way forward in the future. So that's what we are going to discuss. And today our topic is limited to means commercial viability, means we are not going to technical feasibility, we are just limiting it to the commercial viability. And probably this will tell you what should be the diesel generator rating, what should be the battery energy storage system rating, what should be the bidirectional converter rating, what should be the optimal capacity of a solar farm which you can put, what should be the wind capacity which you can put, everything. So means today we are going to concentrate more on commercial viability. And of course, I mean, what say, I believe still we have a lot of days in lockdown. So hopefully we will come up with the upcoming other technical feasibility as well. Right? So means at last we will see some grid connected and standalone microgrid design that's using a Homer code. That's some real-time case studies. At least we will try to see one grid connected systems and one there is an echo. Yeah, I will try to avoid that. So at least we will try to see one grid connected systems and one standalone microgrid systems. So that's what we will look into this. I believe now echo is okay. That right? There are some complaints in the text box that there is an echo. Fine. I believe now I am okay. Right? So probably let me means before jumping to the topic, means what to say, as I told, means the session should be an interactive session. So if you are ready, probably means what to say, you are just not listener, you are an active contributor as well. So I think I have to repeat what Steve Jobs says. It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. Instead, we hire a smart people so that they can tell us what to do. So means what to say, it's really important. Means what to say, I should not keep talking what I know, but I need to ensure means what is really needed for the audience. So I mean, what to say, you can actively contribute in the sessions. We have planned quite a lot of upcoming sessions on the same microgrid energy storage systems. So in our session 2 or session 3, you will get a chance to speak for maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. That topic what we are giving to you is what is, in your opinion, the biggest challenge in moving forward for battery energy storage systems? It's specifically for battery energy storage systems. Okay, there are quite a lot of challenges in the battery energy storage systems, both from industrial perspective or a research perspective or academic perspective. So we have listed few options, but you need not constrain yourself to these few options. And if you want to talk about some other options, yes, that's possible. You just text your name, organization, and what's the topic to this number. And means what say, we will not take you up in this session. That's not possible. But definitely we will take you in the session 2 that's going to come up probably in the next week. Right? So what's in your opinion the biggest challenge in moving forward for the energy storage? We have given few options: control and automation, protection. That's the biggest challenge, because when the microgrid is operating in a grid connected mode, the fault current could be quite high, and when you are operating in an islanded mode, the current is quite less, and it is almost close to full load current. And microgrid operate in a low voltage, there is no sophisticated protection mechanisms. So what about that? Interoperability and availability of standards, future expansions, changes in the technologies, rapid changes in the technologies, especially in the batteries, health and safety. There are quite a lot of fire incidents, etc. And of course, the last but not least, the most important point: how do you recycle and safely dispose your batteries if it is lithium-ion battery? So these are all probably the topics which we have identified, I believe, which the participants can talk. So means if you are really interested, you register with this number with the name, organization, and topic. Then we will contact you. Probably you can record your sessions, or probably we will take you in the live in the next session. That is not part of the session. Okay. So that's what I'm telling. This session should be for all, and probably everybody those who have a knowledge can probably discuss more. Yeah, I have a few quick questions before I'm jumping to the topic. Everyone might be aware of this project. Elon Musk from Tesla has proposed 100 megawatt in 100 days, and he has completed in 56 days. That's in Australia. The question is, what is the C rating of the battery system, right? So if you do not know what is the C rating of the battery system, then probably go back and find out what's the C rating of the battery of the systems. And this is probably the chat which has been exchanged between Elon Musk and means businessman in Australia to make that project as a challenge, and they have completed in 56 days. And there is a link which has been given. Probably you can go to that to means understand more information on this projects. But try to answer those questions. Anyway, these questions probably you can put the answer in the chat box. So we will try to find out the right answers and announce the right answers probably at the end of the session. Yeah, I mean, so I'm talking about the same project. That's a 100 megawatt, 129 megawatt hour battery by Tesla. The same project, this one. Question 1 and 2 are probably the same, related. That's by Tesla. Is the largest energy storage system as on today. I mean, more specifically, there is the largest battery energy storage system as on today, because there are many other energy storages which are available. That's the largest battery energy storage with respect to lithium-ion battery today. Who can beat this with what capacity and when? So we have given some logos also. That's for those who are new to understand. I mean, those who are peoples in the market with respect to the battery energy storage systems. One you can see GE, other one is you can see AES, and other one is you can see Fluence. That's Siemens plus AES means merger, and Tesla, right? Fine. And probably this is an information. If you want to really know about microgrids in India specifically. Yes, means what to say, we are talking about this microgrids for the past at least 3-4 years in India, but means what to say, nothing has moved as what we have expected. So this book came long back, but probably really touches. You can just watch this book. That's by an eminent author, Rahul Tongia. Microgrids in India: Myths and Misunderstanding and the Need of Proper Accounting. That's a beautiful book. So I think I can put this link in the chat box at the end of this session, or probably I can add this link in the description of this video at the end of the sessions. Okay, what's the capacity of first industrial solar microgrid in India? So I have also given a few manufacturers like Delta, AES, Dynapower, ABB. These are the players in the market in India at least. So question is, what is the capacity of first industrial solar microgrid in India? And it is not mandatory that you have to know the answer for all the questions, but at least I mean, so to say, these questions and images will, if it is forcing you to think beyond what you are looking for today, means that could be the idea behind what I am putting these images and questions. So at least these images should convey that there are players already in Indian market, microgrid projects in India, and means what to say, how we look forward this market. So you need to understand that. That's the reason why I'm just putting all these questions and informations. Yep, probably means what to say, if you take India largest project, that is means what to say, NLC has put up an energy storage projects in Andaman. So there are many people who have means bidded for that projects. L&T, Sustain, Hero, BHEL, etc. And L&T is executing that project. But question is, what is the solar capacity? What is the PCS capacity? What is the battery rating of that capacity? That is, as on today, I mean, the largest capacity PCS installed, or I mean, ongoing project in India. Right. And major partnerships with respect to this energy storage, Samsung and Sungrow has joined, and Sungrow is a solar inverter manufacturer, Samsung is battery manufacturer, so they came up together. That's a major partnership, Samsung Sungrow. And AES and Siemens, they came together, called as a Fluence, I think, which we have seen few slides back. And Dynapower and Raychem RPG, they have a partnership, and they are promoting this battery energy storage system products in India. Yeah, what's the capacity of first grid scale energy storage system in India? Means we have given the players. This is in Delhi, in Delhi distribution systems. So probably you can find out the answer. What's the capacity of first grid scale energy storage systems in India? And probably these are the questions which you can means what to say, very well answer it in the text box, or probably find out the answer after this session. Right? Means if you are unable to find, probably we will update the answers in the means comments of this video once it is uploaded in YouTube, right? Means what's the live which you are watching, that will be uploaded in YouTube itself, probably in a few hours after the live. So you can find out means what say answers for all these questions in your comment section. What's the highest rating of bidirectional converter, which is also called as PCS, power conversion system, available in market? So we have given few manufacturers of the bidirectional inverters commercially: Sungrow, SMA, Parker, ABB, Dynapower. Right. This is of course an information. There are quite a lot of battery manufacturers, so we have given few: Samsung, LG Chem, Qualcomm, Cattle. So this is not the complete list. It is just to give you an approximate overview of what industry is heading towards. Right? Okay, that's to give a really a background of how the industry of energy storage and microgrid in India and across the globe. And probably when we talk about this energy storage, this is not necessarily the battery energy storage systems. This could be many. So when we talk about energy storage, that can be majorly classified as mechanical, thermal, electrochemical, electrical, and chemical. And mechanical, you can find pumped hydro, compressed air, flywheel. Thermal, you can have a molten salt, that mostly used for CSP plants, concentrated solar thermal power plants. Electrochemical is what your batteries. Electrical, it's supercapacitors, even superconductive energy storage devices, which we are talking, but it is still in research. And chemical, it is hydrogen fuel gas. Right? Probably means, let me quickly go to the information just to talk about what's the Indian sector with respect to this energy storage. Very recently, Greenko and Renew Power has won the world's largest renewable storage based firm supply, that is 1.2 gigawatt. So means most of you may aware, SECI, Solar Energy Corporation of India, they have announced for 1200 megawatt. That is a firm power. When you talk about wind or solar, that is an infirm power, which may not be able to supply a firm power. But this tender came up with providing a firm power, that is at a peak hours. That means energy storage is mandatory, but the tender has given an option for the bidders to choose what's the energy storage system which they need to choose from probably this list. That could be either mechanical, thermal, electrochemical, electrical, or chemical. So out of the 1200 megawatt, Hyderabad headquarters Greenko has backed about 900 megawatt at a price of 6 rupee 12 paise per unit, and Renew Power has backed the project of 300 megawatt, and that tariff for a peak tariff is about 6 rupee 85 paise. Please be remember, this is the firm power which they need to supply. So probably you can go through for a better understanding. This is really a clear market strategy now with renewables and energy storage systems. That could be either pumped hydro or probably battery energy storage. Your price can be at this level, which means that could be even less than what's the commercially available price. Probably if you take Tamil Nadu, the commercial tariff is about 8 rupee. So you can get the price of firm power with less than that price, right? So I'm not going to talk more on that, but that's to just give an idea, right? So maybe only one important point which I need to stress here is this Greenko 900 megawatt solar. They are going with the pumped storage, and Renew Power, they have going with the 300 megawatt along with the battery energy storage systems, right? So but why I have stressed all these things, because we are not going to talk about all the energy storages today. We are just limiting our discussion to the battery energy storage, right? So when to choose what, there are quite a lot of different energy storage mechanisms we have seen. So in that case, what kind of energy storage which needs to be adopted when is probably this image explains. This is probably a very old image, but still that makes a sense. If you want to go for a high capacity for a long duration, then probably the pumped hydro is the ideal choice. Even if you look at Tamil Nadu, we have a 4 into 100 megawatt pumped hydro station in Kadambarai, near Pollachi in Coimbatore district. So that's one kind of energy storage, though we never appreciate that is energy storage, but that's the cheapest possible energy storage with a higher efficiency. So that's pumped hydro. And you can look at what's the capacity that is in the x-axis, and what's the duration that's in the y-axis. You can find what should be the ideal energy storage systems which you need to choose, right? For a very short time, I mean, so you can go with the supercapacitors, and for a few seconds you can go with the flywheels, but flywheels has their own drawback, like it needs quite a lot of maintenance, etc., right? And the losses are a bit more. And when slightly time increases, you can think of like nickel cadmium batteries or lead acid batteries, and even lithium ion batteries. Now lithium ion batteries not in megawatt. This is a bit old slide, as I told. Probably as you are told, means this South Australia project, that is 129 megawatt hour energy storage, and people are coming with 300 megawatt hour or 200 megawatt hour, that is with lithium ion technology. So lithium ion has technology that Green Graph has extended probably even from megawatt and maybe to gigawatt in a short span, right? So then advanced lead acid batteries, sodium sulfur batteries, for different kind of batteries, and CAE is probably there is a mechanical compressed air energy storage systems. That's again for a large capacity for a longer duration, right? Right. Fine. That's I think give an idea. But means why do we need to talk about all this energy storage? That's the first question to be answered. So electricity means has to be generated and consumed at the same moment. Means neither energy be created nor be destroyed. So electrical energy generation, when we talk about, we are converting from other form of energy to the electrical energy, that might be from potential energy of water into the electricity in hydro plants, or chemical energy of coal into the electricity in thermal power plants, aerodynamic energy of wind into the electrical energy in wind farms, and so on and so on. So when we convert this other form of energy to the electricity, at the same moment this electricity has to be converted into some other forms, like a heat or rotational or fans, mechanical, whatever it is. So whenever there is a mismatch between this, then key electrical parameter, which is a frequency, will change. So it is necessary that we need to maintain the generation and demand each and every moment means constant. That means it has to match each other. And previously the load is the only thing which is continuously changing or fluctuating, but because of the introduction of this wind and solar, that is intermittent resources, the source also becomes intermittent in nature. Then probably this energy storage becomes mandatory to balance the generation and demand gap, right? What is BESS? What is microgrid? So here you can see typical industry or typical commercial buildings. So they have utility supply, they have step down transformer, and there is a static switch. The static switch is mandatory if you want to have a seamless transfer. That means when the grid fails, if you want to maintain these loads without power interruption, then the static switch may be mandatory in most of the cases. So that is a static switch. And here what you are seeing in the first one, green color, where my cursor is there, that's battery energy storage systems. You can see PCS, that is a power conversion systems, and the energy storage, which is in our case we have assumed it's a battery. So this PCS is basically a bidirectional converter. This whenever there is an excess power available, or whenever the power available from the grid is cheaper, it stores the energy in the battery, and whenever there is a shortage of the electricity, or whenever the grid price is high, then probably means also it inverts the energy which stores in the battery. So only this portion, this energy storage plus PCS, that's basically called as battery energy storage systems, and this total system is called as microgrid. So we need to understand the difference between microgrid and BESS. Microgrid is a combination of sources and loads that could be either grid connected or standalone, and it doesn't have a big transmission network. That means the sources and the loads are connected almost physically close, and it can operate either grid connected or islanded. It needs an energy storage, it needs a control mechanisms to control the voltage and frequency. So that's the definition of microgrid. Right. So I think it's a bit clear what is battery energy storage systems. Battery energy storage system is only PCS and the battery, that is battery energy storage systems. That battery energy storage system not necessarily has to be a microgrid. So this battery energy storage systems can be directly applied at high voltage levels for means ancillary services like frequency regulations or probably reactive power support, etc. Okay, this not necessarily always have to have the microgrids, right? Fine. What an ESS can do, So means what is it? Probably means I have used the terminology energy storage systems, but you can always relate that as the battery energy storage systems, because most of our discussions are going to be related with the battery energy storage systems only. Right? It's used for a renewable firming, as we have talked. Wind and solar are intermittent in nature, that provides an inform power. That means the power which is not going to be means what is a constant, that's continuously fluctuating, depends upon the availability of wind and solar. So this battery energy storage systems provides firming of this renewables. That means along with the renewable, if the battery energy storage system is added, this can provide a firm power. That's a typical example of what we have seen. Greenco and Renew Power has one solar plus energy storage in a recent SECI project. This can provide a reactive power control. What is reactive power control? So probably you can see here it's a PCS, that's an electronics power electronic device. So that can either inject reactive power to the system or consume the reactive power from the systems. So it can be used as a reactive power control. It can be used to regulate the voltage as well. It can do peak saving. What is peak saving? Probably let me go back to this previous slide. So assume that the utility is a different tariff. Maybe one tariff for a normal hours and the other tariff for a peak hours. For example, 5 rupees for a normal hours and 10 rupees for evening peak hours, that is from evening 6 to 9. Then means this battery energy storage system can store the energy at a lower tariff, and whenever there is a peak tariff comes in, and it can feed the power so that it can reduce the demand from the utility. It can be also understood in a different way. There are two energy charges we will pay. Means two charges we will pay. One is for the energy, other one is for a demand. So means what to say, industries generally pay based on this energy charges as well as a demand charges. So even if your demand goes to a highest value only for a smaller duration, you need to pay means what to say, that demand charges for that particular period for the whole month. So this battery energy storage system can be used like to supply the power when the peak demand goes, and it reduces the peak demand from the grid. That's basically called as peak saving. As the graph in the left hand side, probably if you understand that properly, the original load is going to peak, but probably means what say this energy storage system supplies and that curtails the maximum demand which is drawn from the grid. Ramp rate control. So I mean, so to say, if you lose the grid, and if suddenly other gas turbines or steam turbines or your diesel generators to ramp fast, they have their limitations on the ramp up control. So this battery energy storage system can be used to either ramp up or ramp down other sources in a smooth way, so that the life of the other equipments are enhanced. Active power management, that is to maintain the frequency. It can be used for a spinning reserve. It adds an inertia. It can be used for a seamless transfer. It can contribute a higher fault current, so that probably the protection coordination could be better. Sifting, it can sift the loads, it can sift the even PV or wind solars, and it also helps to operate the systems in a standalone mode. So these are all probably terminologies. Don't worry much on these terminologies, but everything can be explained with the same things. Even if the grid fails, means the system can operate independently if this battery energy storage system is available. Because if you take solar or wind, they may not have the capability to operate in an islanded mode without any voltage reference, but this bidirectional converter can provide a voltage reference, and the system can operate continuously even if the grid is not available. So that's all an advantage of this. That's basically called as standalone or islanded operation of the microgrids. That's possible with this battery energy storage. So means not too much to confuse. Means what to say, let's quickly jump on to the examples and means the simulation. So what are the steps in the battery energy storage systems? As I told, there are two things which you need to validate. One is economical viability, and other one is technical feasibility. So let's start with an economic base, that's economic viability. So the first step in ESS design is to find out techno-commercial feasibility. That means whether the system is economically viable or not. So for that means what to say, we need to model all the equipments like loads, existing generations, renewable which is available, if it is a grid, what is the availability, what's the cost, everything, right? So for this economical analysis, these are all the softwares which are available. Means you have a Homer Pro, you have a Homer Grid, you have a REOPT, that is renewable energy integration and optimization, you have a Plexos. These are all the softwares which are used for economic evaluation. It's not basically for a technical feasibility. Technical feasibility we will come to later, but these are all the softwares which are used for economic evaluation. Alright. So you can see Homer Pro, Homer Grid, REOPT, Plexos. These are the softwares which are available, and you may get a demo version of this softwares. The Homer Pro is the software what we are going to discuss today, and we will simulate few case studies, industrial case studies, to understand how this commercial viability can be assessed. Even let's start with the very basic questions, then we will take it forward. So what are the equipments which you can model? So here are some equipments which you can model, like the loads, utility, that is a grid, the components like PV, storage, converter, wind turbines. So these are all some snaps from the various softwares of this, right? But when you look at the softwares are purely for energy storage, and it is for economic evaluation. It is not for a technical feasibility, right? So these are all some modeling which I will take it in the simulation software itself. I don't want to waste the time here in the slides. Yes. So what are the equipments which are there in the energy storage? So probably if you have seen that single line diagram, you have seen there is a PCS, there is a bidirectional inverter, then there is a battery, right? So bidirectional inverter is the first device, which is a predominant device for your energy storage systems. There are few manufacturers of the bidirectional inverter is given here: Tesla, ABB, GE, Fluence, Dynapower, SMA, right? Then the storage, as I told, the storage could be any storage, but we are talking about battery energy storage here. And again, in the battery energy storage, we are limiting our discussion to lithium-ion battery energy storage. So these are all the few manufacturers of lithium-ion battery. So you may ask a question, why we are not talking about other energy storages? Pumped hydro is existing for a long time. Means all other technologies are still yet to prove their commercial viability. So only promising technology is lithium-ion battery energy storage. So that's what we are talking about, lithium-ion battery energy storage systems. And of course, the system has a balance of plant, that is like a transformer, switch gears, and control and monitoring. So these are the devices as to put together to achieve energy storage system. And when it comes to technical feasibility, after putting this putting a right size of PV, wind, energy storage, bidirectional converters, batteries, everything, we need to validate whether the system is technically working or it's technically feasible. Check like voltage profile, losses, equipment loading due to sudden loss of grid, whether the system is able to work in a standalone mode. What will be the reduction in frequency, what will be the increase in frequency, all these things we need to check. For that, you have quite a lot of power system simulation softwares are there. So for the battery energy storage systems and microgrid, you need to perform quite a lot of studies like load flow, short circuit, transient stability, which I have missed here, but transient stability also you need to include. There is a protection coordination studies, that's the relay coordination, grid integration studies. There are many studies which you need to perform. There are many softwares are there, so I have just listed only few softwares which might be familiar to you: ETAP, Excellent Power Factory, PSS. Right? So this is some snaps from power system simulation softwares to validate the technical feasibility of microgrids. And we are not going to discuss this today. We will discuss this probably in a separate day. Today we will go to the microgrid using only the commercial evaluation, that is using Homer Pro. ESS or microgrid, the microgrid has a connection with the utility grid, or it may not have an utility grid. It may have an electric vehicle, or it may not have an electric vehicle. That could be a just simple example, a load which we have given. This essentially should have some sources that could be even a diesel generator or gas turbines, that could have some loads from commercial buildings or industries, and that can have renewables, and essentially it has a storage, and it has control and automation to optimize the system. So what it can offer, this can offer reliable energy, this can offer efficiency and optimizations, and it has green. So that's the, yeah. So with that, probably means what to say, we will take industry. This is a case study, so let me not waste our time. I will just quickly jump to the simulation software. Yep. Yeah, I think there are quite a lot of people's 500 plus audience. Yeah, that's great. So let me quickly open the simulation software. Yes, so here this is a software. This is, I believe the software is visible for you. This is basically software called Homer Pro. This you can download it in internet itself at it's a demo version. You just Google it with the Homer Pro. You will get the software, right? You will get a free software for 21 days, right? You can download and you can so to say, yeah, 21 days free trial is available. You can download and you can start, right? I have downloaded the demo version probably a couple of days back. You can see in a help so to say license, you can find out when it expires. So means my 21 days trial expires on 1st June. I have downloaded a couple of days back, so 21 days is the validity, so it expires on 1st June. But you can enjoy the complete benefits of this Homer Pro for the 21 days, and you can probably practice whatever you want, right? Okay, let's quickly jump to the system. So I think I have already modeled it, but for your easiness, let me start from the scratch. Let me go for a new project and model this entire system, right? So let me go back to this question. The question is like an industry which receives the power supply from the utility, and probably means what's the adding a renewables, whether it is worth or not, what's the commercial price, etc. That we will check, right? So means here means you should not confuse with the power system simulation softwares and this Homer Pro. Here the software is basically combines all the loads and models only the load curve. Okay, probably if you are familiar with this power system simulation software, so you might be modeling different buses, different transformers, loads, cables, transmission lines, etc. But here you will not be able to model any electrical transmission equipment. When we say load, that's the combined load of your entire industry. So let me quickly go back to this slide. Let's talk about an example of that industry itself, so that you will be a bit more clear on it. Yeah, I think that is probably I was in the slide mode. Yes, if you take this loads, you may be having many step down transformers, you may be having motors, you may be having static loads, etc. But all these loads are modeled as a combined single load here. You have only options like electric 1 and electric 2. So means only two loads. You may ask why two loads, why not a single load? So means one load will operate both with the grid and so to say when the grid is not available, and the second load probably can operate only when so to say the grid is not available. So something like that which you can add. So that's the real reason why they have given two loads. Apart from that, means what to say only one load is sufficient. So here you can see that's a load curve. So means software gives you an option to model a different kind of loads which are available. Like they have given typical examples of residential, commercial, industrial, community loads, and even you can have your own loads by means of keeping it blank. If you have means what to say want to put up a microgrid for your own college campus or for your own industry, then if you have a data from your multifunction meter for the past 1 year, you can import the data as well. You can import the data for last 1 year data, and probably you can use the data also. Okay. So how to import, I will come to this later. So let me take, now I have taken an example of industry. Let's talk about an industry example. So industry, if you look at that, load might be almost constant, because the industry assumes the industry is operating in 3 shifts a day. So if I make this random variability 0, the curve is maybe so say flat, and it is always green. That means that is the average demand is 1000 kilowatt, the peak demand is also 1000 kilowatt, and the load factor is 1, and the daily average energy consumption, that is 24 into 1000 kilowatt, that is 24,000 kilowatt hour. So that is the per day consumption. And if you look at the load factor, that is 1, because my average demand is also 1 megawatt, my peak demand is also 1 megawatt. Then what is this day-to-day variations and time step variations? Obviously means what to say, even if we say the demand is going to be constant, but there could be means what to say, the changes because of day to day or time to time, or probably because of the season to season, etc. So if you take 10% day to day variations, so you can see here your average demand remains same, but your peak demand is changing. Peak demand is changing. So this is basically means what's the variation between in a day to day. So one day may consume different power, other day consumes a different power, in the sense even different energy. So that's the day to day variations. And the time step means here we have given the time step of 24 hours time step on a day, which can be let's say increased or decreased, depends upon what you want. So here we have modeled the loads in 1 hour block. Even if you want to model the loads in minute basis, you can model. By the time the number of inputs what we need to enter will definitely increase. So if there is any time step variation, you can what to say, add that as well, and you can see what to say, for the same average demand remains same, but the peak demand increases, and hence the load factor decreases. So probably this can easily help you to understand one important aspect. If there is load curve is a flat, which it's not really possible to achieve this in practical. But in this case, if you go with just a 1000 kilowatt uh, demand from the utility, or if you have a 1000 kilowatt generator, that's sufficient to run this. That is sufficient to run this. But if you have day-to-day variations or time step variations in the loads, then your peak demand increases. So you need to put up your all the equipments for means meeting a peak demand, which is 1525, and the minimum demand will come down below this, below 1000, so that the average is maintained as 1000. So that means your load factor is only 0.66, that is 66%. Okay, so this load I have modeled. Let me model a grid as well. Right, there is an option called grid here. Right, so here it is in dollars. So you can go with a simple rates. The grid, so as I told you, it's a commercial software. So you can model this in a simple rates, real-time rates. If you want to real-time rates, then you need an input from real-time data of what's the market price on an hourly basis. Scheduled rates, that is different tariff for different times that you can model. And grid extension, that means if you want to extend the grid for some kilometers, then what's the grid extension price, all these things which you can model. So let me start with a simple rate. So I don't want this projects to be in dollars. I want to be the project to be in rupees. For that, probably means what say, first I need to freeze the location of the project. Right, assume I am going to put up this project, or assume that this industry is in Chennai. I can just search Chennai. Yes, means automatically this Google map picks up this location Chennai. This location is important when you are modeling your solar and wind farms, because the solar radiation or wind velocity depends upon the location to location. And this information is also important, like what's the discount rate, what's the inflation rate, what's the annual capacity shortage, project lifetime, etc. Discount rate, that is an interest rate at which you can borrow the money from the banks or from the individuals. That is the interest rate. So assume that you can take a loan at a 10% of interest. Then inflation, what's the inflation that you can say, means every year that price for the same product is increasing. So how much percentage it is increasing, that you can model it in inflation rate. And annual capacity shortage, that's an important parameter. So this talks about how much percentage of the energy which I can live without energy is available. So that's talking about the capacity shortage. That means there is a demand, but the source is not available to meet that particular demand. So, example, even if you go to the rural areas nowadays, the availability and reliability of the electricity is not 24/7. Even probably you can see 30 minutes or 1 hour power outage on a daily basis. So, this is what's the annual capacity shortage? It describes what's the capacity shortage in percentage. So this could be power outage, or it could be means what is the insufficient capacity to meet the demand. Both comes under the annual capacity shortage. If you take very critical loads like data centers or hospitals or military camps, this annual capacity shortage has to be zero, because capacity shortage is not acceptable. But if you are designing a microgrid for maybe a remote village, their cost is more important. So probably the annual capacity shortage can be given based on the community or probably the application. And what's the project lifetime? Is it for 20 years or 25 years that you can give? So the first I have selected a location. I have selected what's the interest rate, what's the inflation, what's the annual capacity shortage. I have assumed it is 0% right now, and project lifetime I have assumed for 25 years. I have added a grid, but grid the price is in dollars, so I just want to change that price into INR, Indian rupee, because the project is in Chennai. So for that I have to go to the projects. There is something called economics. So here you can, at the top you can look at, there is a load, component, resources, projects. So in the project there is an option called economics. In the economics, same information what you have given in the home page, that will be available. What is the interest rate, what is the expected inflation, what's the project lifetime, everything, right? In addition to that, you have a currency. You can change the currency to whatever the currency which you want. So it depends upon where you are doing a project, you can change the currency. So I'm considering now Indian rupee as a currency, and 10% interest rate, and expected inflation is 4%. Then if I come to this grid, now that will be in rupees, not in dollars. So I can put what is the cost at which I am purchasing this energy, and if I have a source, what's the price at which I am selling the energy back to the grid. So these are the two things which I can put here. Anyway, means I have only the loads, so it is not really important to put what is the sellback price, but what is the purchase price is most important. So here you can see, means I am putting about say 6 rupees per unit, and assume that the selling price is 3 rupees. Anyway, it's not going to make any sense because I don't have any sources. So here I have only one grid, I have only one load, and the grid offers the energy at an energy cost. There is no demand charges. It is a simple rate, very simple example. So with this I can run the simulation. When I am running a simulation, you will get what's the commercials, what's the tariff, everything here. So what that means, you have to calculate, probably means when the grid is not available, if I remove this grid, your calculate button on the right hand side will not be enabled. This calculate button will be enabled only when all your errors are closed here. So here there is no power source available to feed the loads. That's the reason why this calculate button is not enabled. As soon as if I add a grid, that is source, then automatically this calculate button will enable. So price, I have to give a right price. So I am getting the energy at 3 rupees. That's what my assumption. Let's add further more values in the upcoming simulations. This is just for a basic. So 6 rupees is what's the energy price which I am getting the energy. So I am running a simulations. I am getting some results. You can see the results as a summary. You can see the results in tables. You can see the results in graphs as well, right? So I am just prefer to go with the tables. I am just looking at the doubling this to have a better results. So only when you are using a demo version, probably means you might be having this for evaluation use, that will be appearing everywhere, right? So here you can see there is a cash flow, compare economics, electrical, grid, emissions. So let's let's talk about electrical first. Is there any excess electricity? There is no excess electricity because I don't have any other source. I have only getting the power supply from the grid, so the excess electricity is zero. What is the unmet electricity? What is the unmet electricity? Unmet electricity is also zero because the grid is available and it is available 24/7. I have assumed that grid is reliable power supply without any power outage, which means what say 100% of the time the grid is available. So means unmet electricity is also zero. Capacity shortage is zero. Renewable fraction is zero. That means there is no renewables which has been added. What's the total load? Total load is 87,60,000 kilowatt hour per year. So means as we told, probably let me take an example of this one. Sorry. Yeah, I think I have to probably switch off my close that. So I have assumed my demand as 1000 kilowatt average. This is the average demand. So when I look at means for an year, that is 365 days into 24 hours. So 8760 hours per year. This is hours per year. And if I want to find out what's the total kilowatt hour per year, then I need to multiply this to 8760 hours per year into 1000 kilowatt is what is the rate which I am consuming. So this is the answer. This is the kilowatt hour per year. So that's the same value which you are getting here. That is 87,60,000 kilowatt hour or 87,60,000 units. 1 kilowatt hour is 1 unit. So the same thing. So the entire demand is met by grid purchase only. You don't have any other sources. The entire demand is met by grid purchase only. And if you look at the cost of energy is 6 rupees because that's only a fixed tariff. Right. Now let me slowly move on to the next by means of adding in one small complication in the network. That is, I'm not giving the grid is simple rate. That's how the grid offers of the electricity boards or discom supplies to the households, but that's not the way how they supply the energy to the industries. When they go to the industries, they will have two different rates. One is for the energy consumption and other one is for demand charges. So let's try to model the same story. And as soon as you have changed from simple rate to scheduled rates, you can see here model doesn't match with the results. That warning will appear. That means we have changed the input after the simulation has been run, right? Okay, so scheduled rate I am going, right? So rate definitions. So you can give it different time, different prices. Okay, so here means what say you have only one rate, but you can very well add one more rate for a different durations. Now entire 24 hours it is in the same color and the price is same, but you can very well add means what say one more time and one more rate also. So means I will do that, but probably means I will try to edit this. So grid power price is 6 rupees and selling price is 3 rupees, though which doesn't make any sense now because I don't have a source, right? This is only the price of energy, okay, but there is something called demand charges. What is this demand charges? This demand charge is imposed by utility on industry for their maximum demand. That means what's the maximum demand which the industry takes, for that per kilowatt per month what's the charge. So this is typically means Indian states, different states has a different values, but means I'm assuming 500 rupees. In Tamil Nadu, if you look at that is I believe 475 rupees for a medium voltage consumers. So what's that mean? It means what to say, even if you have not consumed any energy and if your demand is 500 kilowatt, means or 500 kilowatt or 1000 kilowatt, you have to pay a fixed demand charges of 500 rupees per your kilowatt demand, each kilowatt demand, right? So let me run now. Probably you will see a slightly higher tariff. Previously the tariff is 6 rupee. Now you can see the tariff has been increased to 6.98. So let's come to the electrical here. Again means your excess electricity is zero, unmet electricity is zero, capacity shortage is zero, renewable fraction, everything is zero. Okay, but your levelized cost is increased to 6.98. Why it is 6.98? So probably means what see here you can say easily understand from the grid. So means here you can see what's the energy purchased for that particular month. That is results in cumulative of 87,60,000. Energy sold is zero because I don't have any source. I have never sold energy to the grid. What's the net energy purchased? So means if there is sold, then it is energy purchased minus sold, but sold is zero. So in this case, energy purchased is same as energy purchased. What's the peak demand? So the peak demand varies. That depends upon the factor what we have given. So this peak demand probably you need to relate with what's the time variations and the step variation which we have given in the load. What's the energy charge? This might be the only charge which we have seen previously, but now there is a demand charge also which has been added. So that might be the reason why means what to say your levelized cost of energy, which is previously only 6 rupees, now has increased to 6.98 rupees. So let me means what to say make again the demand charges zero and probably simulate and showcase you, or probably I can go to the simple rates and I can show you. Means the demand charges will be zero and your cost of electricity will be only 6 rupees. The cost of electricity is 6 rupees because now I am paying only for the energy charges, not a demand charges. As soon as I add a demand charges, means so to say the demand charges will appear here, right? And probably means now you are seeing a peak load, right? That peak load means what to say is not 1000, that is changing from month to month. That is because of the day-to-day variation and time step variation which I have given. If you change it to zero, then means what say you have a peak demand of only 1000, that will not change anything beyond 1000. So that means your load is flat 365 days 24 hours, the load remains 1000 kilowatt. That's what the meaning of it. That's what the meaning of it. Right, you can see here. I mean, it has never ever gone beyond 1000. That's always 1000. Right. Fine. So now probably you have understood one probably important information. What's the significance of what's my demand charges? Right. So means what say in a simple rate is the typical philosophy which is adopted for domestic applications. Your discounts, that is distribution companies, or your distribution electricity boards utilities are charging you for only the energy what you consume. That is for a domestic. That's not the case for industries. Industries, it is based on the means what to say two tariff. One is for what is the energy which you consume. Second one is for what is the demand which you are creating on the systems. So here the price is this is for an energy and this is for a demand. This is how the industry charges. So when I run this, so probably you can say the same thing when I'm coming to the grid. Yeah. So here the energy charge and the demand charge. So here your levelized cost of energy is 6 rupees 68 paise. That is comparatively less than previously what we have seen, that is 6 rupee 98 paise, because I have made the load as a 1000 kilowatt constant load across the year. But that's not the reality. Even if it's an industry, the load will fluctuate even if the industry is running in 3 shifts. So then the peak demand will change and the demand charges also will change, that will increase, and your levelized cost of energy. What is levelized cost of energy? That is what's the cost which I am paying to 1 kilowatt hour on an average. That's the cost of energy. So if I am changing this load with the load variations, that straight away given here means the peak demand has increased to 1525. So if I go with that, yeah, so here you can understand very well. I mean the price has increased, that is 6.98 rupees in the grid when you come. So you can see monthly basis what's the demand charges which you are paying. So energy charge there is no difference, but demand charge definitely there is a difference because your peak load is changing. I think that's clear. So with that we will add one more thing. Means this case we have assumed the grid is 100% reliable. That means 365 days 24 hours without any power interruption the grid is available. But that's not a scenario. Here means the grid will always means has an outage. That outage can be modeled in terms of reliability. So assume that the grid has, say, example, about 50 outages per year, number of outages per year, and assume that mean time to repair is say 1 hour, and repair time variability is about 20%, right? So here you can see there is a blue dots. What is that blue dots? Black dots. What is that black dots? That says the grid is out of service. That means that time you will not be able to get the energy from the grid, right? So now let me go for a calculate. Yeah, here you can see, means what to say, optimization results. There is no results, right? You have seen there is no results. Homer was unable to find a system which meets the demand. No feasible solutions. It's saying not enough generation capacity, not enough annual capacity shortage allowed, emission limitation. So means this software is not able to find an optimal, or it is not able to find a solution. Why? Because there is a grid outage which we have given here in the reliability. Means we have told about 50 grid outages per year, each 1 hour. So that is about 50 hours power outage. But we have also told, means the annual capacity shortage is only 0%, which means we will not accept any shortage. Like the industry is very critical, 100% load has to be met at each and every moment. That's what the constraint which we have given. So that's the real reason why when the grid fails, there is no other source. The software is telling that there is no feasible solution for. So now means make a fact that means what to say, annual capacity shortage is 5%. That means 5% of the time I will accept the means energy shortage or the non-availability of the grid. Then let me simulate this. By the time we will get the means results. Here you can see yes, we got the results. When going back to the tables, here you can see some interesting facts. Let me go to the grid. Yeah, I think it is successful. It is reconnected. So you might be felt a small interruption. That is, interruption is because of our OBS has some interruption in between. Other than that, nothing you may have felt, but yes, I think we can go ahead. Yeah, here you can see the excess electricity, that is 0. That means I don't have any excess electricity, but there is an unmet electricity. In a year, there is about 51,000 kilowatt hour. That is 51,000 unit. There is a 51,000 unit is unmet. What does that mean? I have given about 50 hours for grid outage. So in that 50 hour, what is the demand which is there? That couldn't be met. Simple reason, because by the time the grid is not available. So that's the real reason why what to say, this unmet electricity is about 51,000. So 50 hours I have given, and 1,000 kilowatt hour each. So it is 50,000 kilowatt hours. And because of that load variations, it's plus or minus some percentage. So you are getting 51,000 kilowatt hour. And the capacity shortage is that's a peak shortage, that is 56,148 kilowatt hour. In the percentage, it is about less than 1%. That means if there is a power outage of 50 hours a day, 50 hours a year, then probably your power outage unmet electricity demand is about less than 1%. Okay. Still your renewable fraction is 0. Maximum renewable fraction is 0, right? You have a demand of 87,60,000 kilowatt hour, but you are not able to meet the entire demand. So that might be visible from the grid. All right. So what to say, you are meeting means only 87 lakh, means you are unable to meet the additional. Again, I am facing some problems. That might be because of some issues in the OBS. Okay. So anyway, there could be some interruptions, but anyway, please bear with me. Fine. So here means what's the point which I am trying to stress is the demand. Previously, what you might have seen is much higher, but here means we are not able to meet about 56,000 kilowatt hour. So means we need to supposed to meet 87,60,000, but we are meeting only 87,008,000 kilowatt hour. Right? This is because of your non-availability of a grid. Right? So assume that this is the price, means approximately the industry is getting the power supply at about 6 rupees or 7 rupees. Now assume that the industry has quite a lot of space in the roofs or probably in the area of probably means nearby areas where the land is available where they can put up a solar plants. So let me take a solar plant and try to find out what's the optimal capacity of this. Let me put a solar plant. I am adding a PV. So let me go for a complete catalog. Let me means let's say put up some 500 kilowatt capacity. Right. What's the capacity of solar which I am adding is 500 kilowatt solar max inverter. So means you may aware means approximately 1 kilowatt cost about 45,000 rupees, assuming 4.5 crore as per megawatt cost, and that needs to be means even replaced at the same cost, but assume that may come down over the period. I am giving 40,000, and probably per kilowatt I am giving operation maintenance cost of about 100 rupees. I'm not sure means what to say why this OBS is keep connecting and disconnecting. There are some interruptions, but hope I will try to go ahead as long as I can. Right, and probably if the system continues to disturb, then probably let's have the session probably in the upcoming sessions. Okay, if there is one more interruption or twice there is an interruption, then probably we'll have the sessions means a bit later as well. Right. So I'm giving some options means I'm just thinking of 500 kilowatt, 1000 kilowatt, 1500 kilowatt, and 2000 kilowatt. The various options which I have given for the solar, right? And advanced, probably you can have here. You can explicitly model your inverters. You can give orientations. You can give ground reflectance. You can model trackers, single axis, dual axis trackers. So at present I have put no trackings. What to say. I am not considering any temperature effects as well. Okay, we will include one by one and we will check. But at present means what say I have simply modeled 500 kilowatt inverter. I have given a choice to check whether 500 kilowatt is commercially feasible, or 1000 kilowatt is feasible, or 1500 kilowatt or 2000 kilowatt for the given systems. Right. So now the calculate button is disabled. That's because of that error which is showing. It's saying add a solar GHI resource. So I have added a solar plant, but for that location what I have selected, that is Chennai, means what is the solar radiation which is available for that particular place that I need to import. That can be either imported from directly from the internet, or that can be imported from your other options also, right? Or even you can enter the value if you know that value. So I am just downloading from the internet. So the software gives two options. One is from NREL and other one is from NASA. You can take any one of the source and you can download. So the software has downloaded the data of solar radiation for the Chennai location what you have selected. So before doing so, you ensure that you have selected a proper location of your industry or a plant. Right. So now the calculation button is enabled. So if I am running the calculation button, software not only runs one or two simulations but many simulations. But here you can find out an interesting fact. So to say the price with only grid is about 6.99 rupees cost of energy. But if you go with a solar plant, you will get the cost of electricity at 5 rupees 16 paise. At what capacity of solar? At a solar capacity of 2000 kilowatt. Here it is only the categorically optimized. If you want to see for 500 kilowatt, means all the options you can get. What's the results for 500 kilowatt? What's the results for 1000 kilowatt? What's the results for 1500? What's the kilowatt for 2000? Right. So here you can see, means without solar the cost of electricity is about 6.99 rupees. If we add 500 kilowatt, the cost of electricity come down to 6.57. Means if you put 1000 kilowatt, it comes further down to 6.15. And it comes down to 5.67 rupees. So if we are going with 1500 kilowatt, and it's 5.16 rupees if it is you are adding 2000 kilowatt. So probably you might be even exporting some energy when you are putting 1500 kilowatt or 2000 kilowatt. Right. Fine. So probably means what say I'm just going and taking this results. Let's look at how the results looks like. So let me go to the electrical first. Here I think you have find out something, right? There is some excess electricity. What is this excess electricity? So grid is not available for 50 hours in a day. By the time if the solar is available, the solar cannot run independently because that doesn't have a voltage reference. By the time the solar could have generated energy, but unfortunately which cannot be utilized. So that is excess electricity. What's the unmet electricity? This is same probably means when the grid is not available, what's the energy which you are unable to meet for their demand, that's the unmet electricity. And what is the capacity shortage? That is a capacity shortage which means unable to meet what is the peak demand. And what is the renewable fraction? Renewable fraction is 37%. That means I have about 87,60,000 kilowatt hour which needs to be met, out of which about 37.2% of the energy is met from solar, and the balance 62.8% which I am purchasing from the grid. So I think that's clear. Means what's the percentage of energy which the solar has generated, and what's the energy which I am purchasing from the grid, right? What's the maximum renewable penetration compared to the demand? What is the solar value at any instant? So that is basically the maximum renewable penetration. So that maximum renewable penetration says at one instant, at any instant, the maximum renewable penetration compared to the demand is 288%. That means if a 2000 kilowatt inverter generates 2000 kilowatt and the demand is, say example, only 500 kilowatt at that moment, then this renewable penetration is 2000 divided by 500, that is 4, that is 400%. So that's how this maximum renewable penetration is calculated. So it is saying it is 288% now. So you can look at this levelized cost of energy is 5 rupees 16 paise. And so let me go to the renewables. Yeah, you can say the instantaneous renewable power output divided by generations, instantaneous renewable power output divided by the load, 1 minus instantaneous non-renewable, etc. So here you can see, the solar is available only in the daytime. That probably how to read this graph. In the x-axis you have 1 to 365 days, that is for 1 year. Y-axis you have here 0 to 24 hours. That means this is midnight 12 o'clock, this is morning 6 o'clock, this is morning 8 o'clock. That's where probably you are having a generations to probably evening 6 o'clock, that is 18 hours. And after 18 hours, that is evening 6 o'clock, you don't have any generations. And probably if I move the cursor, you can find some values. So that's in a different color. Probably a dark black is basically 0. So probably whenever I see here, probably that is early in the morning, there is no sun, so the power output is 0. So that's the case even after the evening 6 o'clock. But probably between morning 8 o'clock to evening 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, it generates the electricity. So how much power or energy it generates on that particular hour, that is same. So that is given in the color. So probably means value, it says it's 100, right? That is Thursday 6th December 2007. That year which I have given a start year as 2007. So that's the reason why it's giving 2007. But on December 6th, at 1 p.m. this is generating some energy. So probably you can find out what's the power which it generates, right? Fine. So this is simple solar inverter. The same capacity you can see. We put up 2000 kilowatt from 0 kilowatt. In a daytime it will generate the power. So you can probably click and you can find out how much energy which has been generated. So minimum output is 0, maximum output, though we have installed 2000 kilowatt inverter, but your solar panel capacity is generally higher. That could be either 120% or 125% of your inverter rating. So the maximum output is 2333 kilowatt. The PV penetration is about 40.4%. And number of hours operations, as we know, the solar will not be available for the entire 8760 hours, that is 365 days 24 hours. It is available only in a daytime. So it is available at 4,372 hours. What's the levelized cost of energy from solar alone? It is about 2 rupees. So that means that's approximate cost of the energy. But please be remember, this we have calculated only for 1 year. So over the period this solar inverter, this one will come down, which we have not accounted it. So then this levelized cost may slightly slightly go up, right? So rated capacity is 2000 kilowatt, mean output is 404 kilowatt. So means what's the capacity factor or plant load factor, whatever you call, that is about 20.2 percentage. Now probably you have I mean many chances. You can change it to single axis tracker, dual axis tracker, and you can check what is the energy generated increased and what's the plant capacity factor increase, everything which you can see, right? When it comes to the grid, so you can see almost your peak load remains same, because means the solar is coming only in the daytime. So the peak load remains same, but you can see energy purchased, energy sold, and net energy purchased, energy charges, demand charges, all these things which you can see. And energy purchased from the grid you can see, and energy sold to the grid you can see. In the daytime, whenever there is an excess electricity, probably means you can sell back the electricity to the grid, right? So means if it is a carbon emissions, you can see, I mean, so say still what is a carbon dioxide emission? That is assuming that the energy which you are receiving from the grid is basically generated from other sources, right? So probably means now I have done the review the results for about 2000 kilowatt. So same thing which will be applicable for 500 kilowatt also. Means you can check the results here. What's the solar generation? So 500 kilowatt, the maximum output has gone to 583 kilowatt. PV conversion is about 10 percentage. Means what's the levelized cost? Means 500 kilowatt, mean output is 101. Mean output per day is so much. What's the capacity factor? What's the levelized cost of energy from the grid perspective? Means what is the energy sold? You can see, since your demand is approximately 1000 kilowatt and your installed capacity of solar is only 500, so we are neither sold the electricity. Energy sold is zero, because your generation is always less than the demand, right? So electricity, if you look at excess electricity is zero, because you have never generated energy which is more than the demand. Unmet electricity is still there, about 5.5 percentage, and renewable fraction is about 10 percentage, right? So this gives you an approximate idea on what should be the approximate capacity of the solar which you need to put up, and means what is it, with energy storage or without energy storage, etc. I believe that gives you at least a rough idea of how to calculate this. As I told, I mean, so to say, you can extend this project for a multi-year. Means if we put up a solar plant today, I mean, so to say, I have assumed the de-rating is 96 percentage, but what's the energy generated by the solar plant first year will not be the same for a second year until its end of the life. So means then there is an option called multi-year that is available in the project, where you can add, means what to say, multi-year option that is available here, right? You can enable it. You can find out what's the lifetime, and means you can put up, means what to say, what's the increase in the grid purchase price every year, what's the increase in system fixed cost every year, and what's the degradation of your solar plant every year. So that all these things if you put, then you may be able to simulate the results for 25 years. So say example, if I am putting a degradation of about say 0.5 percentage every year, that means in 20 years that will come down by 10 percentage. And if you run this, probably means what say, you will be running for many cases which you have seen here, right? So that's because of its multi-year, and means you will be able to see the results not only for the first year but also for the 25th year. Okay? So I'm not really adding some complicated problems, fact that because that will take quite a lot of time for the simulation to run, right? Even I will take the same example of 500 kilowatt. Yeah. So probably means you can download the software, as I told, at free of cost, and yeah. So here you can find now first year, correct? Cursor is not working for some reason. I cannot run that system for multi years. Your results will be available not only for the first year but for the entire 25 years. That's what I am trying to see. I just want to see this solar data and the grid data. not necessarily for the first year. Yeah, you can see the third year data, you can see for 12th year data, and you can see for the 25th year data also. You can see there is a change in the results. If it comes to the solar, probably you can see, means what say PV penetration is only 8.96 percentage in the year 25 as compared to the first year, that is 10.1 percentage. Why so? Means in a first year, means the solar generates means higher power. That's because the panel will be clean and there will not be any reduction in efficiency, etc. But when you go over the years, means what to say, your efficiency of the solar panel comes down, and hence there will be reduction in power. So the same thing you can apply for the increase in the cost of the electricity from the grid also in the multi-year option. What's the increase in the grid price which you can add? Similarly, means what say your operation maintenance cost today and after 20 years will not remain same, that you can add. And even your load will increase. Your load definitely not going to be constant in an industry, that may grow over the period. That also you can really model it. Yep, I think it's really a marathon lecture. I have not really given enough time for the questions. Yeah, let me take few questions before I am uh, taking up. Yeah, I think there are quite a lot of questions. Yeah, let me look at my other screen and yeah, the question is from Sirish. Sir, why data centers will not allow the annual storage capacity? There is not annual storage capacity, there is annual shortage capacity. So, means if there is a power outage in a data center, then you can imagine the loss of data or that's impact, right? So, means data centers generally they go with the 3 into 100 percentage backup. That means even a single second or a single minute power outage is not acceptable. That is the criticality of the data centers. The data which is stored in your system is really important, right? So that's one. And any other questions? Useful for a but session too fast. Okay, that's a feedback. Might be probably this video might be available in your session probably after this live. You can probably come back and watch. And the session is probably we generally do this session as a hands-on session where we give sufficient time for the participants to practice in the simulation software. But that may not be possible when we have it in online. So that's the reason why you may feel this is a bit fast. I do agree that's a bit fast. So yeah, probably means you can practice the software, and probably when you're coming for the session 2, then you may feel the session might be okay at the right speed. Yeah, I think I couldn't move my cursor beyond some level. Yeah, I'm still trying to find out. Yeah, many people are asking a feedback link. That feedback link is there any issues with my? Yeah, feedback link. Probably I will share it as a part of a description. When we are posting it, the feedback link in the chat box that disappears after some time. So after this video is enabled, I will add that feedback link direct description, which you can probably look at in the bottom of your the same video, which is a screen which you are looking at now. In that itself, there will be in a comment section or in a description section or in the both the places I will add for you. Otherwise, by posting that feedback link directly in the chat box, when people are texting continuously, then it will be difficult. Yeah, there is a question from how to carry out the sensitivity analysis in Homer Pro software. That I believe really a good question. So there is something called the sensitivity. So I'm not going to simulate, but let me talk about what is sensitivity. If you are simulating your plant with, say, example, diesel generator, you may have, diesel cost may change. So let me add a diesel generator here quickly. Yeah, the system is a bit slow. the system is it's responding a bit slow. But anyway, means if you have a generator of, say, example, if you are adding a 500 kilowatt diesel generator, I'm just adding an example. So if you take means what, say, diesel price, the diesel cost may not be the same. So when going to advanced, there is an option called fuel cost, correct? No? So the fuel cost not necessarily has to be means what, say, 60 rupees, and again we do not know, that may change to 65 rupees, that may be changed to 70 rupees, that may change it to 75 rupees, etc. So similarly, means what to say, that's not the only variable. Means I have given an example that the price of the diesel can change. Similarly, the price of your grid also can change. Similarly, means what to say, your load also may have some fluctuations. So means anyway the software is giving you, there are many sample applications which is already there. You take the first project, that is a sample wind diesel remote, you can go there and you can see the results, and they have given, I mean, so to say, there are many variations. I just save this. So then you can find out, means what to say, the sensitivity analysis will tell something like if the diesel price is more than 65 rupees per liter, then going for a 200 kilowatt biomass is okay. And if the diesel price is 80 rupees per liter, for even higher capacity like 1000 kilowatt biomass is okay, something like that. So that is basically your sensitivity analysis. Yeah. So here probably means when you give some results, something like that. So you can see the sensitivity analysis. So they have given diesel price as $1.2, one option, $1.4 another option, and similarly wind speed average is 5 meter per second, 7 meter per second, 8 meter per second, etc. So the different results they have given. So means when you look at this, I mean, what to say, this is basically sensitivity analysis. The sensitivity analysis still in a graphical format. That means if the diesel price is so and so, and if the wind speed is so and so, which is an economical option. So what combination which you need to go for. So that is basically telling, means whether you have to go for a diesel or a wind in this case, right? So that's basically a sensitivity analysis. And there is another question from Vinay. So I have taken the demand of 500 kVA from utility. Unfortunately, I used 550 kVA. Then is there any option to show extra demand charges for remaining 50 kVA? Yeah. So here the software works probably in a different fashion. That is to answer a question from Vinay. Sorry. Home. Yeah, here probably means let me open my file itself. Great example which I have drawn. So here, I mean, so to say, countries like India is based on means a fixed grid demand. That means you should not go beyond it. Say example, if 1000 kilowatt is the demand, means the industry has to ensure that the demand is not more than 1000 kilowatt. If you are drawing more than 1000 kilowatt, then means you have a penalty for that. But the software by default takes, I mean, what's the maximum demand which comes to the system, based on that it is charging. But of course, you can optimize that to means let's say have a fixed demand charges and a penalty that can be programmed by means of having some MATLAB coding or something, which you can really do that. Dhanasri Shankar, sir, please arrange a lecture on any software which can be used for power system dynamics. Okay, that's fine. I think that's the second portion of it. I believe I have not even covered even a 10% of what's the economic evaluation of this microgrid design. That I think probably once we have one more session on maybe microgrid design using this Homer Pro itself for a better understanding of, you can call it level 2, that we can definitely do. Next question is from Kaisha. How the battery connected to the system will justify vehicle to group and grid to vehicle mode? Yeah, probably interestingly means you have some session today evening organized by this Homer Pro itself that starts at 7 p.m. India time. So you can probably register in the website of Homer Pro itself. There is a seminar or a webinar which is coming. That's at 7 p.m. India time today. You can register for this. They are going to talk about means how this electric vehicle is plugged into this microgrid. So I'm not going to talk much on this because they have a dedicated 1 hour session for that. That starts at probably this. I can just show this link. So you can just go to the website and you can really register for this. Okay, electric vehicle charging and coming to Homer Grid. So they have some specific option for that, right? And there is a question from Krishna Kumar. Is there any term like a standby grid that can be accessed with the nearby energy produced? There is no standby grid, but there is standby generators, which is always possible. All your diesel generators can be called as standby diesel generators. That's to answer question from Krishna Kumar. So there is no standby grid. There is a standby diesel generator is always possible. Sometimes we may have, let's say if we are getting a power supply from two different points from the grid, then that can be called as standby grid, right? And stop. The informative knowledge you getting was best, but now after this, when you were teaching in Homer, all this was bouncing over. That's from Robin Singh. Okay, that's true, Robin. I'm not denying it because means most of us are means engineers, not the peoples from means what say commercial background. But unfortunately, means what say if you are an engineer, you need to justify something with respect to commercial as well. So means when you design a product, as I told already, means that has to be probably ensure that commercial viability as well, right? So let me take up a few more questions. I have shared my contact number and email ID. Please note that this is not for a certificate. This is only for a technical doubts clarifications. For certificates and feedback forms, I will upload that and I will share the contact number in the description. You can contact directly the people there, right?